Ladies and gentlemen, we all have dreams. We all have aspirations. And we all have plans. But there comes a moment in life where, despite our best efforts, we are faced with rejection. That's when God says no. But let me tell you something. When God says no, it is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater, something far beyond what you had in mind. That happened. The director shared the screenplay and said no, because this is far too big. When we talk about trust, we often talk about faith, belief, and the hope that things will work out as we envision them. But what happens when things don't go according to plan? What happens when we work tirelessly, put in our blood, sweat, and tears, and yet we don't get the outcome we expected? That's when trust becomes a deeper challenge. Trusting the timing. It's easy to trust when everything is going your way. But the real test is trusting when things seem to be standing still, or even when they seem to be going in the opposite direction. We live in a world where instant gratification is the norm. We want results now. We want answers now. We want success right now. We're told that the grind, the hustle, the pursuit of everything is the key to getting what we want. And so we push harder. But here's the thing, God's timing isn't bound by our expectations. It doesn't work on the same clock we do. What we see as a delay, He sees as preparation. What we perceive as a setback, He sees as a stepping stone. It's in those moments when we feel that no, that we have to remind ourselves that we're not waiting in vain. We're being prepared. We often fail to recognize that some of our greatest blessings come not in the moments we want them, but in the moments we need them. What we're going through right now, the obstacles we're facing, the struggles that seem endless, they are part of the timing that we can't yet fully understand. Maybe we're not ready for what's coming. Maybe the world is not ready for us. Maybe the situation hasn't lined up just yet. But that doesn't mean the timing isn't right. It just means that God is working behind the scenes in ways we can't see. And think about it. How many times in your life have you wanted something desperately, only to find that later on, when you look back, that no turned out to be a blessing in disguise? It's because there's a rhythm, a flow to life that we don't always understand. We think we're in control, but the reality is we're only in control of how we respond to life circumstances. What we need to do in those moments of delay, of waiting, of hearing no, waiting, is trust that there is a bigger picture being painted. A picture that will make sense in due time. And so I trusted that. The real test of trust is staying calm in the storm, remaining faithful in the waiting. There will be times when you wonder why it hasn't happened yet, when frustration and impatience start to set in. But those are the very moments when trust becomes not just a belief, but a practice. It's easy to trust when everything is going smoothly. It's when the storm is raging and the skies are dark that trust is forged in the fire. There is nothing running away from you there or running towards you. And it's in those moments that you learn to surrender to the process, to know that the things you're working for, the desires you have, will come at the perfect time. And the most important thing to remember is that when God says no, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not that He doesn't have something for you, it's that He has something even better, and He's preparing you for it. So while we may be on our timetable, we must understand that God's plan is always bigger, wiser, and more perfect than anything we could dream up ourselves. Trusting the timing means trusting that the journey, the waiting, and the process are all part of making us who we are meant to be. So in those moments of doubt, when the answer is no, and you're wondering when your moment will come, remember, it's not your timing that matters, it's His. Keep your faith strong, stay in the fight, and trust that the right moment, the right opportunity, and the right success are coming exactly when they should. Rejection is a part of life that nobody is ever truly prepared for. No matter how many times we hear it, no matter how many times we hear it, no matter how many motivational quotes we read about overcoming failure, the sting of rejection still hurts when it hits us. It makes us question ourselves, our worth, and our path. We start to wonder if we're good enough, if we're deserving of success, and if we've missed the mark completely. But here's the truth. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's an invitation to grow. It's a challenge to rise higher. And most importantly, it's an opportunity for you to become stronger than you ever imagined. Think about the times in your life when things didn't go the way you planned. Maybe you didn't get the promotion you thought you deserved. Maybe that relationship ended when you thought it was the one. Maybe that dream you were chasing slipped through your fingers, and all you were left with was disappointment. In those moments, it's easy to get lost in the pain of rejection and think that it's the end of the road. But if we take a step back, if we have the courage to reflect, we start to see that those rejections were the catalysts for something better. Rejection forces you to ask yourself the hard questions. It pushes you to take an honest look at who you are and where you are. It forces you to get real about your goals, your values, and your priorities. It strips away the layers of comfort, the things you thought you could rely on, and reveals the parts of you that need to grow, that need to evolve. And we all have a vision of what success looks like, but rejection teaches us that success isn't just about getting what we want. It's about becoming the person who can handle it when we get it. Rejection makes us humble. It makes us take stock of our own shortcomings and figure out what we need to change. But it also shows us that we're capable of learning, capable of improving, capable of growing. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when we're challenged. It happens when we fall and get back up again. It happens when we face setbacks, and instead of letting them define us, we use them to redefine ourselves. Rejection, painful as it may be, has a way of breaking us down just enough so that we can rebuild ourselves stronger. It's in those moments of disappointment that we find out what we're truly made of. And if we allow ourselves to embrace rejection instead of running from it, we begin to see that it's not something to fear, it's something to learn from. Every no brings with it the possibility of a yes. But that yes may look different from what we originally expected. It may take us down a path we hadn't even considered, a path that ultimately leads to greater fulfillment, greater wisdom, and greater strength. Rejection teaches us resilience. It teaches us perseverance. It teaches us that we don't need external validation to know our worth. We have to find that within ourselves. And once we do, rejection becomes just another stepping stone, not a roadblock. Think about the most successful people you admire. Do you think they reached the top without rejection? Of course not. They faced it, felt it, and used it to fuel their drive to keep going. They understood that rejection was not the end of the story, it was just part of the process. The rejection you're facing today may feel like a dead end, but in reality, it's the very thing that will push you to evolve, to dig deeper, and to become the person you need to be in order to succeed. So the next time you face rejection, remember this: it's not personal. It's a tool for growth. It's a way of refining you, sharpening you, and making you better than you were before. Don't let rejection stop you. Let it transform you. Let it be the fuel that drives you to become the best version of yourself. Because in the end, it's not the rejection that defines you, it's how you rise from it. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations that don't make sense. We work tirelessly, sacrifice everything, and put our hearts into something only to see it fall apart before our eyes. It's in those moments that we start to wonder if there's any purpose to it all. We question the path we're on, the choices we've made, and whether we're really headed in the right direction. We check. But you see that when you're in service to an ideal. There's a chemistry that is constructed, and there's a broader force. But it's in those very moments when the world feels like it's collapsing around us that we need to remind ourselves that there is a bigger purpose at play. A purpose that we may not see right now, but one that is unfolding in ways we cannot yet understand. Life has a way of surprising us, of turning our expectations upside down. We think we know what we want, we think we know the direction we should take, and yet life has a different plan. It's easy to feel defeated when things don't go our way. It's easy to throw in the towel when the doors we knock on remain closed. But what if those closed doors are part of a bigger plan that we simply aren't privy to yet? What if the struggles, the setbacks, and the rejections are the very things that are leading us to something far greater than we ever could have imagined? We often live with a limited vision of what's possible. We see the immediate, the here and now, and we focus on what's in front of us. We can't always see beyond our current circumstances, and that's where the struggle begins. When things don't go the way we want, we get frustrated, angry, or even fearful. But what if those obstacles are meant to build us up, to prepare us for something greater? What if we're not being denied, but rather redirected toward a future we're not yet capable of seeing? The truth is, life isn't about just achieving the goals we set out for ourselves. It's about fulfilling a purpose that is bigger than anything we could plan on our own. We may think we know what we need, but God sees the entire picture. He knows what we need to grow, to evolve, and to become the person we were always meant to be. Our desires are powerful, but they often come from a place of limited understanding. We want success, love, fulfillment, and happiness, but sometimes we want them in ways that won't bring us lasting peace. The bigger purpose is about leading us toward a deeper, more meaningful life than we could ever create for ourselves. Every rejection, every failure, every detour is a piece of the puzzle. We don't always understand it, but we must trust that there's a bigger design behind it all. There are forces at work, forces beyond our understanding that are guiding us, even when we don't feel it. What we see as a setback, a disappointment, or even a failure might be the exact thing we need to shape our character, strengthen our resolve, or prepare us for something far more significant. These facts may sound trivial to you right now, but these are failures that have transformed us for something far more significant. Sometimes the things we desire the most aren't aligned with what we're truly meant to do, and so the doors must close, and in that closing, there is a redirection towards something more in alignment with our true purpose. The difficulty is trusting that this is all part of a bigger picture. We may not see it now, and we may never fully understand it, but there is beauty in the mystery of life. There is power in surrendering to the process and accepting that we are not in control of every step. It's in these moments of uncertainty that we grow the most, because they challenge us to step outside of our comfort zones, to question what we truly want, and to open our hearts to a greater vision. What feels like a failure today could be the foundation for success tomorrow. The rejection, the heartbreak, the disappointment, they might be necessary for you to grow into the person who can handle the blessings that are coming your way. Trust that there is a bigger plan at play, one that sees the path even when we can't. Trust that every twist, every turn, and every challenge is preparing you for something more meaningful, more impactful, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Don't wait for the permission. Don't wait until you might not understand why things are happening the way they are right now, and that's okay. The answer isn't always immediate, and the purpose isn't always clear. But as long as you keep moving forward with faith, you will begin to see that each piece of the journey is leading you toward a destination that is beyond your wildest dreams. The pain, the struggle, and the setbacks are part of a story that will one day reveal itself to you. And when it does, you will understand that it was all for a purpose far bigger than you could have ever planned. Trust the process, trust the bigger picture, and know that every step you take, even the ones that seem like setbacks, are steps toward your true purpose. And guess what? There will be moments in your life, and they may come more often than you expect, when you hear that word no. It's a word we all dread, the one that seems to stop us in our tracks, to put a halt on everything we've worked so hard for. It's a word that can feel like a wall, something that keeps you from moving forward, something that makes you question whether the effort was worth it. But here's the truth. Hearing no is not a sign to stop. It's a test of your faith, your resilience, and your commitment to the bigger vision. It's easy to stay faithful when things are going your way. It's easy to believe in the journey when the doors are opening and the answers are coming. But true faith isn't tested when everything is going smoothly. It's tested when the no comes, when the path is blocked, and when it feels like all your hard work is for nothing. Those are the moments when faith is not just a belief, but a practice. Faith is what you rely on when you can't see the outcome, when the path ahead seems unclear, and when you're wondering if it's even worth trying anymore. It's easy to keep going when everything is flowing in your favor, but it's when things get tough, when you're faced with rejection and struggle, that your faith will either carry you forward or make you falter. The thing is, a no is not a final answer. It's just a moment in time. And in those moments, when it feels like the world has told you no, you must remember that God's plan for you is much bigger than that single rejection. When God says no, He's not saying no to you. He's saying no to a specific plan, a certain path, a situation that is not in alignment with your ultimate purpose. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a redirection. It's an opportunity for you to remain faithful, to trust in the bigger picture, even when you can't see it clearly. In those moments of rejection, faith is about keeping your eyes on the bigger vision. Faith is about knowing that this no doesn't define you, that it doesn't dictate your worth or your potential. It's just a moment, just a season, and like all things in life, it will pass. But how you respond to it, how you handle the no, will determine how far you go. Staying faithful in the no means that even when everything is against you, you don't give up. You don't let one rejection define your journey. You don't let one setback stop you from moving forward. Instead, you stay committed to the mission. You trust in the process, and you keep walking even when the road ahead seems uncertain. But when you're faced with rejection, your faith is the bridge that will carry you through. It's the belief that what's meant for you will come, even if it doesn't look the way you expected. It's the understanding that this no is not a failure. It's a stepping stone. It's part of the growth process. And if you can remain faithful in those moments, if you can keep believing when it seems like all hope is lost, you'll find that the no, it was simply a part of the journey that helped shape you into the person who could handle the yes when it comes. Faith is not just a feeling, it's a choice. It's a choice to keep believing even when you don't see the way forward. It's a choice to keep working, keep striving, and keep moving toward the purpose that's bigger than any single rejection. And let me tell you, that's when your true strength is revealed. Not in the victories, not in the moments of success, but in the perseverance, the resilience, and the faith you hold on to when everything else seems to be falling apart. Remember that staying faithful in the no means trusting in the journey. It means trusting that everything you're going through right now is not in vain. Even if you don't understand it, even if you can't see the reason behind the rejection, know that it's all part of a greater plan. And that plan is bigger, better, and more fulfilling than anything you could ever imagine. So don't give up. When you hear no, keep pushing, keep believing, keep trusting, because in the end, the yes you're waiting for will be worth all the no's you had to endure to get there. Rejection can feel like the world has come to a halt. It's like running full speed toward a goal only to have a door slammed in your face at the very moment you thought you were almost there. It's disheartening, it's frustrating, and in the heat of the moment, it's easy to feel like all the hard work, effort, and hope you've invested has been wasted. But the truth is, rejection is not the end. It's not the final word on your success, your worth, or your future. In fact, rejection is often a redirection, a sign that the path you thought was the right one might not be the one that leads you to where you're meant to go. We all have a vision for our lives. We set goals, we make plans, and we move toward them with everything we've got. We imagine that success will come through this particular door, through this particular path. But what if that path isn't the one that leads to our greatest potential? What if, along the way, there are lessons we need to learn, people we need to meet, and experiences we need to have before we can reach the place we truly belong? That's where rejection comes in. It's a wake-up call, a gentle nudge that says this is not where you are meant to be. Not yet, anyway. There is something better ahead. Rejection is often hard to see this way in the moment, especially when it feels like we've poured everything into what we thought was the right direction. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, you start to realize that rejection doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means that the timing isn't right, the path isn't aligned, or the opportunity doesn't truly match who you are or what you're meant to become. The plan might need to be adjusted. The direction might need to shift. And that redirection, though painful, is actually preparing you for something far greater. Think about the times in your life when you faced rejection and felt crushed by it. Maybe you didn't get the job you thought you were perfect for, or maybe a relationship ended that you were sure was going to last. In those moments, it's easy to feel defeated, to wonder if you'll ever find the right opportunity or the right person. But looking back, you might be able to see that those rejections were exactly what you needed. The job that you didn't get might have been leading you to an even better opportunity you never would have considered. That relationship that ended might have been a redirection to a better partnership, one that will bring you the happiness and fulfillment you truly deserve. So rejection opens up new doors by closing the ones that would have led you down the wrong path. When something doesn't work out, it's not a sign to give up. It's an invitation to look around and see the other possibilities. When one door closes, another opens, but you got to be ready to walk through it. That's the key. You have to trust that the rejection you face today is making room for something even better tomorrow. It's not the end of the road. It's a new chapter, a new opportunity, a new chance to take a different direction and find something that aligns more closely with who you are becoming. And the difficulty in facing rejection is that it's a challenge to our pride. We've invested time, energy, and emotion into what we thought was the right path. And when we face rejection, it feels like a personal attack. But it's not. It's just the universe, God, or whatever higher power you believe in, guiding you in a direction that will serve you better in the long run. Rejection is like a course correction. It's a signal that you might be trying too hard to force something that's not meant to be. And instead, you need to step back, reevaluate, and consider what's next. In fact, the greatest successes in life often come from the redirections we experience. Think about any successful person you admire. They all faced rejection at some point. They all had doors closed in their faces, but they didn't give up. They saw rejection not as failure, but as a sign that something greater was on the way. Rejection was not the end of their journey. It was simply a signal that they needed to find a new path, a path that would eventually lead them to the success they dreamed of. And that's what you need to understand as well. Rejection isn't final. It's a part of the process. It's a necessary step that helps you grow and refine your journey. So when you face rejection, don't take it personally. Don't let it define you. Instead, use it as a tool for growth, a way to redirect your focus, and a reminder that the universe is guiding you to something better. Trust that the closed doors are simply making room for the right opportunities. Stay open to the possibility that your original plan wasn't the best one, and that the redirection you're experiencing is leading you exactly where you need to be. Keep moving forward with faith and resilience, and know that each no is just taking you one step closer to the yes that will change your life. In closing, remember that when God says no, He's not abandoning you. He's guiding you, protecting you, and preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine. Trust in His plan. Keep moving forward. Keep believing. And always, always stay faithful. Because when God says no, He's still working for your good.